Welcome to Network Africa. Coming up on the program today, Ugandans take to the streets in protest of 4 policemen who were killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then a UN agency uses satellite data to help Zimbabwean farmers maximize yields in extreme weather. Later, a Malawian chief breaks up child marriages and sends girls back to school. Hello everyone, welcome to Network Africa. I am Amarachi Ubani. Today is Africa Day, the annual commemoration of the founding of the Organization of African Unity, now known as the African Union. The organization was formed on May 25, 1963, when 30 leaders of the 32 independent African states signed a founding charter in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The name and date of Africa Day has been retained as a celebration of African unity, and this year's theme is Building a Better Africa and a Better World. Africa Day is observed as a public holiday in 6 African countries. They are Ghana, Mali, Namibia, Zambia, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe. Well, UN Secretary General Mr. Ban Ki-moon, in his address this day, says Africa Day 2016 is being celebrated in furtherance of the African Union's theme for this year, which is human rights, with a particular focus on the rights of women. He says it demonstrates the commitment of Africa's leaders to place women as key drivers and enablers at the front and center of all efforts to implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union's Agenda 2063. According to him, both frameworks share similar strategic principles, with a focus on people, prosperity, environmental sustainability, justice, human rights, and mutually accountable partnerships. The alignment between the global and continental agendas call for a harmonized approach in planning, implementation, and monitoring. Mr. Ban's message to Africa this day is that all stakeholders rally behind the transformative vision set out in the Sustainable Development Goals and Agenda 2063 as, quote, what is good for Africa is good for the world. To other stories now, the Ugandan government is expecting some answers from the Democratic Republic of Congo in response to the killing of 4 Ugandan policemen by suspected Congolese soldiers on Lake Albert during the weekend. This comes after the former State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Okello Oryem, issued a warning on Monday saying Uganda will defend itself against the Congolese forces if attacks on the citizens happen again. The police were said to have been killed while patrolling the Ugandan border on Lake Albert and their bodies taken to Bunia in DRC. Mr. Oryem described the incident as an abhorrent conduct by the Congolese soldiers, saying they had put DRC on notice that a repeat of any attack may lead to hot pursuit by Uganda's armed force to repel such attackers. Police says that the Seas were responding to an illegal fishing incident by Congolese nationals in Ugandan waters before they were ambushed and killed. Renowned Ugandan journalist Joshua Poro joins us from Kampala. Joshua, thanks for staying with us on the program. Has the explanation which the Ugandan government is expecting been given?
That explanation has not yet come through, even though the government maintains that they served a notice to the DRC government, both in Congo and, of course, within Kampala. Our embassy in Kampala, the ambassador did serve the Congolese government with a notice, first of all, to put a proper explanation as to why the incident occurred, and also, secondly, a repeat of such an incident might lead Uganda to actually defend its territories. That means sending armed personnel, the Ugandan soldiers or the Uganda's People's Defense Forces, to the borders to guard it, to ensure that there is security. But the reply has not yet come from the DRC government, but also the embassy of the DRC here in Kampala was served with a notice to put forth that explanation. And now that the explanation has not been done, I'm not sure what is the next step that government is intending to take. But, you know, Uganda is not a warmonger, so I don't believe that anything serious or tragic can come out of these incidents if the events that happened do not repeat themselves. But one thing I can note is that the people who do fishing on Lake Albert, which Uganda shares with the Democratic Republic of Congo, have made a call to government to reinforce security such that they can be protected, because now they are scared. If the soldiers can kill Uganda policemen who are on a police boat, which is clearly marked Uganda police, what will they do to the civilians? So this is an explanation that the entire country is sitting tight and waiting to hear what happens next.
Okay, but the Foreign Ministry in Kampala says a repeat of these incidents may compel the Ugandan authorities to take self-defense measures to protect its citizens. So should we expect to see a retaliation from Uganda if a suitable explanation is not offered?
Okay, there are two different things here. There is an explanation and a repeat of events. Now, not giving an explanation does not mean Uganda will go up in arms to defend himself. Defend itself against who? When nobody has attacked it again, because Uganda has already issued a warning. But however, if these incidents repeat themselves, then Uganda can go on and defend itself. Now, the explanation that the government of Uganda is asking for is to simply maintain the diplomatic ties between the Uganda government and the DRC government, to just make it quite clear that the DRC was not looking for war with Uganda. And also for DRC to make it clear, if it is not the DRC government can say, no, that was not us. Then Uganda can conclude that these are probably rebels who are mongering within the waters, and they can be dealt with accordingly. The only reason Uganda wants that sort of explanation is to ascertain who is behind the attack and why. Because there are also allegations that one of the police officers was captured alive and later killed under unclear circumstances. All these need to be explained. Want to know, why did you kill our police officer? Because both the bodies and the boat in which the police officers were traveling in were taken back into the Congo. You see that? So I think the explanation we need, or Uganda needs as a country here, is not because we need to defend ourselves. No, we need to ascertain who is behind the attack. Why are they behind the attack before we can come out with a proper conclusion to say, okay, now we can go up in arms and then defend our territories. And that is basically what we are looking for as a country.
Finally, Joshua, do you think this incident will have any effect on the 2007 Ngodoto agreement between the two countries?
I don't think it is possible. Uganda and Kenya, first of all, have been struggling for a very long time for an island called Mijingo Island. It's a very, very small island. Both Ugandans and Kenyans live on this island, but we've been struggling to say, it belongs to Kenya or it belongs to Uganda. But this is for a very long time. But if you realize the ties between Uganda and Kenya have not gotten any better, these countries are enjoying actually very good diplomatic ties. Recently, the president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, was here in Uganda to actually attend President Museveni's inauguration. That means the diplomatic ties are okay. So I don't think just a small conflict within the border would in any way hamper diplomatic ties between the Uganda government and the Democratic Republic of Congo. But I would like to reiterate that if the attack was intended to in any way harm the Ugandan government, this will sever the diplomatic ties between Uganda and the DRC. So that is why the explanation from the DRC government is very important.
That's where we'll leave it, Joshua. Thank you for joining us on Network Africa. Joshua Poro from Kampala. Thousands of supporters of Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF party have been bussed into the capital Harare for a million-man march to show solidarity with the president. A military helicopter has been hovering above the venue monitoring the situation. So far, people have been carrying banners calling it a million-man march, even though the crowd is nowhere near that size. As comes as President Robert Mugabe prepares to stand for another term in 2018, and amid claims by First Lady Grace Mugabe that a ZANU-PF faction, allegedly led by Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa, wants to topple the 92-year-old leader. When we come back after the break on Network Africa, a Malawian chief breaks up child marriages and sends girls back to school. Please join us again.